Hello, everyone. I've got Niall McGuinness here on the Hex Effect podcast, and it's in line with my Progress Hex framework. We're going to have a little chat today about what Niall does and what he does with his coaching, with his football, and we're going to go from there. So I'm going to pass you over to Niall. He's going to give us a little bit of a background on his football club. Would you call it?
Yeah, football club.
Yeah, NFA.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously established in 2018, I think it was. Just basically started out not really expecting it to grow as much as it did. We were just looking to try and create the opportunity for boys and girls in the area, ultimately without travelling too far out the area to get them same opportunities. And since then, yeah, it's just grown. The idea came from Rebecca, my partner. She worked in America, coaching over there for her uncle. She worked for PSA, which was Princeton Soccer Academy.
Okay.
And yeah, the NFA came from that really, and we called it North Football Association. Now North Football Advanced. But yeah, that was sort of the idea, and just from her experiences, from the experiences that I'd had within this area, we just thought we could try and create for everyone really, and starting out predominantly with girls, and then it grew into the boys section, and then developed into obviously our women's and as well. So yeah,
cool. So just give us a bit of a background. How many teams have you got running there at the moment?
I think in total, don't quote me, but I think it's 32.
32 teams?
Yeah, 32. Wow. Yeah, including the boys.
Amazing.
And the girls, and obviously the men's and ladies 21s and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously within them teams, you've got sort of like, I think we've got 4 under 9, so 4 boys teams at one age group. So there's different teams within groups, and some we've just got one that age. So yeah, it's like I said, it's worked really well, and it's quite important, I think, to the community. Not just us. I think since we've done ours as well, a lot of clubs have sort of kicked on as well. So it's good. I think everyone's pushing each other now, which is great to see. And yeah, just good to see so many.
Yeah. It's funny you should say that about the rising to the level, because I do hear about sometimes, and people quote NFA this, and NFA, but anything that raises the level of the level, it can't be a bad thing, mate, can it?
No, definitely not. I think everyone probably needs that, don't they, in day-to-day life? I think 100%. Everyone wants a challenge, and if you sort of stand still or you take your foot off, then was there to try and thingy. So I quite like it. I think people just think I'm predominantly NFA, but I'm not. I do base it around the community and like other football clubs. I think there's some great work being done at other clubs as well, and it's good to see. Like I said, there's other clubs now that are probably pushing me to try and achieve other things as well for our club. So yeah, it's really, really good. And like I said, I just think for me, the ultimate aim is to try and create the best local girls to play together. Obviously, if they can go on to bigger and better within that, then
no, it's good, mate. It is good. I've been down to the setup, and it was the old school field, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So how did it come about that you got that set up then?
Yeah. So basically, we met with the school because when we first originally set up, we didn't have a home. Basically, we were here, there, and everywhere. We played at Preston High School for a little bit. We'd played in St Asaph for a little bit. Played at Real High for a little bit. So it was like an opportunity really just to create a base for the club to grow. And I think it was just after COVID, the playing fields weren't being used. Obviously, the high school have had a new build, and they've got pretty much everything on site now. Albeit they do still use the facility, but only really for sort of 6 weeks of the year with the athletics and stuff. So we said if we could come in and develop it, and obviously put funds into the facility to make it better, and obviously then when they want to come and use it, it's appropriate for use. Whereas like originally, like when we first went there, it was just an overgrown field. It was like, I remember. It'd been left. So that was the plan really, and then like I said, we've just been able to keep developing it. I think we've had it nearly 4 years now.
Yeah,
we've been at that site, and it's improved. There's a lot we still want to do, and obviously keep growing. But it is definitely better than it's a facility that can be used now. Where it wasn't previously. So
I think that's good in the community. You see a lot of green areas and stuff like that don't get that don't get used. I do remember playing on it years ago, but not the way you've developed it into the pitches and stuff like that, and the training areas, and you've got it all roped off and stuff like that. It's a good setup, mate. So
yeah, no, it's definitely because like originally for me as a kid, I played for Derwent, so like when I started out at 5, that's where my first ever session was. So I think there's a few coaches within our setup that said the same thing, and I probably know Warren Adam as well. And we both went back to like a little bit of our childhood of like, wow, and I never realised that really until obviously we had the chat and it hit home a little bit more. It's like, this is where like I started out as a kid, and like I said, it was a green space. But yeah, to be able to try and make it better for everyone was obviously the ultimate aim, really, to just to give them something. Like obviously 3Gs now is the in thing, isn't it? But we're not blessed from in Denbighshire, so it's like we better place to play football if they're not sort of within a higher level academy. Then like grassroots football was always just turn up, throw the nets on. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, like obviously won some grants for like some aluminium goals and stuff like that, so you don't have to do any of that. Like the coach can turn up, focus on the kids.
And then the kids get the most out of it. Then don't they?
That's it. Yeah, just trying to make a more professional environment for them.
I did score 1 or 2 hat tricks on the top field, mate, years ago.
Love it.
Right then, so you said, is it your wife or your missus, Rebecca?
It is my wife, yeah.
Yeah, so your wife. Yeah. So Rebecca. So how's Rebecca involved now? What's she do?
So pretty much everything. If I'm honest, more than I do. I always say that. Like Rebecca, for me, I'm still predominantly a coach. 3 teams within the club: the men's, the ladies, and the under-9 select group. And then I'll dip in and out with 21s, and I'll cut the grass and do the maintenance. But she's the one that basically looks after the football club itself in terms of like scheduling everyone and all the admin stuff that I'm not my bag really.
Yeah, horses for courses.
Yeah,
mate,
that's it. She is the person that basically keeps the club running. Really, I can't take any credit for that.
I think you've got to give yourself some credit, mate. Obviously, that you're a team and you've come in for it from your missus brought the idea over from America, but as a team, obviously it's working well. You've got over 30 teams, so obviously something's working there, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I suppose everyone like in any thingy, everyone's got their own skill set, haven't they? So if you can come together and bring that. We've now got a committee at the football club. We had a meeting last night, so we've got a committee of about 8 different people now with teachers, different skill sets within that committee that now we're trying to drive the club to the next stage of where we can try and get it to. And like I said, we are punching above our weight. Like even you look at the men's team, we're currently 3rd in the tier 3, which are the only 2 teams above us at the minute, are Bangor Football Club and Portmadoc, who are 2 huge football clubs that have been running for a long, long time. So to see ourselves in that is like punching above our weight with what we are. But then it's like, how can we get to that stage to try and sort of like kick on and go again, really? So, but
and staff, what have you got staff? Do you have staff in that as well? Or?
Yeah, so coach wise, I think there's, I want to say about 40 now, 45 maybe coaches. So quite a few do like different age groups. So like might be one that'll do like 2 age groups, like a 9s and a 16s. Some that are involved in the men's setup and the junior setup. I know like saying he's with the assistant manager and me in the men's setup, but he's also does like the select girls of the 14s and stuff. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of people on board, and then people away from coaching now that, like I said, have come on the committee, like family members of the people that just want to try and help us.
Yeah, they want to try and get the best out of the kids.
Yeah.
So you started in 2018. That's 8 years ago now.
Yeah.
That's gone quick. Goes quick, mate, doesn't it?
Flies.
Yeah.
It
So,
fly,
what's been one of your biggest challenges up to now?
I think the hardest one is obviously, like when I originally set up, I probably still haven't achieved what I ultimately set up for in terms of like even my own. He's at TNS, my lad now, so he travels out to play academy football, and I just want to. Obviously, I wanted to stop that. You know what I mean? I wanted to be able to bring something where local and we can. They don't have to go here, there, and everywhere to sort of get them opportunities, but we still haven't managed to do that yet. That's something that I'd like to try and achieve really and stop them going out the area, unless, like I said, it's a little bit different if you go into a pro club, an English club.
Yeah, there's a next level there, isn't
yeah,
there?
that's it. But I just think there's enough talent in the area to obviously drive local kids to play together. Really,
Yeah, and it raises the standard, mate, doesn't it?
that's it.
100%, yeah. Because
Um,
Real's got a good history as a football club. Obviously, they've
yeah.
fell out of the Welsh Prem and stuff like that. But is there ambitions to get to the Welsh Prem?
I think that's it's a long shot, isn't it? I think the Welsh Prem now, the way it's gone, like I was speaking to one of my mates the other day, and like, the budgets and stuff are like you wouldn't believe the sort of money that gets paid in some of these clubs now, and it's like you can never see how we'd ever get to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just can't vision it, but like I said, they probably thought that 10 years ago themselves,
course, mate,
so you just never know. But I think if we can get to sort of tier 2, we're in tier 3 now, and like I said, we're not a million miles away. If we could get there, that was always the aim, because the league I enjoyed managing in, and I just think it's a good level for players locally to start their career. I think you can get them into that sort of league. There's some good teams, good opposition, and then if they're good enough, then they can kick on to obviously the Welsh Premier League sides. I'd never say never. I think if anything, the women's is probably more achievable to try and get the women's within the Welsh Premier League setup. So they were in tier 2 last year, but we're still quite not there. Like, we've got a pathway that's starting to come through now.
Yeah.
But we're probably having the same problem at the minute, where clubs outside that'll come and take your best players like at the last knock-ins, because, like I said, they've just got that little bit more at the moment than what we can.
Yeah, but
offer,
I suppose it's a work in progress, mate. Yeah, and you think you should be proud of what you've done up to now. And I suppose for you, it's an ongoing process that's just going to change and evolve over time, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it's going to throw challenges our way and stuff. And like I said, we just want to keep growing as best as we can, really, for everyone, not just for the sake of me or Rebecca, like for everyone involved. I always set myself out like I'm a competitor, like I want to win. So, like, probably same with you when you play football.
Yeah.
A lot of that's on now, where people just come to play. Whereas, like, I want to win in what I do, so it's the same off the pitch. That I want to try and compete with the best. Like, we were meant to play Bangor tonight, actually, in the league, and it's been postponed because they've moved the cup game. But I won't go to Bangor to like.
Just
keep
to
the
turn
score
up.
down and turn up.
Course,
like, I want to go to Bangor and try and compete and make.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
especially against Bangor, mate.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like, people will probably laugh and think that got no chance, but in my head, it's like, now we can go and beat these.
Yeah, you're on the pitch, mate, aren't you? Yeah,
so,
you've got a chance, mate.
Yeah,
giant killing, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's just the way I think, mate. And sometimes maybe a little bit naive, but I do want to try and.
I think it's that when you have that tenacity and you have that, the will to win. Anything can happen, especially in football. You know what I mean? That people write stories about giant killings and that all the time. Yeah. No, that's good. So what was that supposed to be in then, the cup?
League. So it's a league. Yeah, we haven't played them yet. We were due to play them away that tonight it was, but basically their quarter final of their cup got called off Friday, so they've moved it to tonight.
Yeah,
which meant that the league game of ours has been sacrificed.
Right,
so
okay.
And they're coming to the Derwent in April as well on the 11th, so that'll be interesting, because obviously they've got a big fan base and good following, so it should be quite a good game. And I'm sure even if Rill aren't playing as well, I think maybe quite a lot of Rill people would come out and watch that, because it's still the rivalry of obviously the areas, I suppose, in football terms. So it should be a good occasion for us.
That's good. So just go into a little bit about your coaching, your UEFA badges and stuff now. Yeah,
so I've A license. I started the journey, really, I think I was 19. Just did my leaders in Prestatyn High School, which is like your start out course, and then went on to my C license, which I did in Denby. Then I did my B license in Llandrillo College, the FAW, and then I did my A youth license originally. So I did a full year where you go down and you'll have X amount of contacts a year. So I went and did that, and then I then went on to the senior one as well. So I did a second course on the A license. And then I think 12 months later, they merged them. So I fell a little bit short on that. Yeah, so I ended up doing two A licenses, but then it become a combined one in the end. So I did apply for my pro license a couple of times, but just couldn't quite get on the course itself. I think now it's gone quite high profile, where because a lot of the big names coming into Wales to do their education. Like Henri was on a couple of my contacts. Yeah,
no
so
way.
it's like Yaya Toure. There's a lot of big names that are coming to Wales to do it. So then me getting on it ahead of one of them's not going to happen, you know. And
you still plan to do that at some point?
I don't know. I think I was a little bit more ambitious with the coaching and management side when I was younger, and now I feel like with the setup that I've got, I enjoy it a little bit more. The pressure's off a little bit more. I don't know if I could go back into that nature of like the unknown, where it's like it's ruthless now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Results, you know what I mean? And obviously, I was at Flint and we got promoted, done quite a good job, and then I was obviously sacked after like 12 games after that, and that was a proper eye opener to think everything I'd done for 3 years.
Yeah, it's
now
wasted
I'm gone.
a
little bit wasted. Whereas now everything that I can build, I'm building for the future for everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without just dipping in to come back out, sort of thing.
Yeah. I don't think what wasted. Probably shouldn't have said what wasted. Really, it's a learning curve, mate, isn't it?
Yeah,
a learning curve. I don't think you would have felt like you wasted 3 years. You might have at first, but you probably reflect on it thinking that it's a learning curve and it helps to grow. And then look what you're building now, mate.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, I only say good things about them as a club as well. Like they gave me that first opportunity, real first to be fair, and then obviously on to Flint from there. And I think without them experiences, I wouldn't be sort of managing still now. Albeit I'm obviously ahead of what I was before I managed them 2 clubs. So I think like anything in life, you okay, no worries. No, yeah, like anything in life is experience, isn't it? Like, I don't know, trades, anything. I think the more experience you have, the better you get, the more knowledge you have. So,
wouldn't like to point it as failure again, but you do learn from your mistakes. You learn from the knockbacks. You learn from the setbacks and stuff like that. So, it's a credit to come back from stuff like that. Your hometown club, you were managing them. It didn't work out, but you bounce back and. You're going on to achieve stuff in the community that's it's bigger than anything I've seen in terms of local football. So yeah, you should be very proud of that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I do. It's like I said, just a new challenge. It was different, and at first it was difficult because I dropped from the Welsh Prem to Tier 5.
Right.
So like, I think a lot of people would look at that and go like, I'm not doing that. But I took it on the chin and thought, you know what, I want to experience all levels because. Like I was almost like gifted really in terms of I got to go straight into the Welsh Prem without any experience really. So I like some people probably look at me and think, how's he done that? Do you know what I mean? And I'm chipping away at these leagues and I can't get the opportunity. So I was blessed to get that opportunity. But then I thought, well, strip it back. I'll start again. And I think like now, I think like when we got into Tier 3, there's not many. I might be wrong, but I'm one of the only ones that managing every level of Welsh football now. So I've done 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. So like I've been able to get that experience of every league, every club, and it's good. But it was challenging at the start to go from top to bottom again.
Yeah, but like I say, you've come back and you bounce, and the resilience it takes, and no matter what anyone says, you could have done a perfect job and people would have picked it apart.
Yeah.
And then if you're dropping from the Welsh Prem down to the 5th tier, that just shows your resilience and your love for the game to get back into it, to want to give back to the community, the younger kids as it started out, and now even in women's football, your patches on your arm are telling you that you love football and that you love your community, mate. So that's you should be proud of that, definitely, 100%.
No, I appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
So your missus and were you over in America?
I wasn't. No.
So she come home from America with a plan, and you sat down and you had a talk about it. So. What was the initial inspiration and then the initial goal when you sat down and said, listen, we're going to go for this? What was the inspiration and the initial goal?
I think, obviously, originally, like stripping that back, before I met Rebecca, when I started coaching, my goal was to go to America.
Right.
So, like, that's what I wanted. But then, obviously, I met Rebecca and she'd been over 9 months and then done 4 months. She didn't want to go back. She wanted to stay at home with her family, etc.
Yeah.
So I had to sacrifice my opportunity of going there, really.
Must be love, mate. Must be love.
That's it. But yeah, first of all, just like because she sort of created a really good program at Real within the girls structure. And I think once I lost my role there, I said to Rebecca, you carry on because like there's no you've created it yourself, you've built it up and stuff. And I just felt that, or we both felt at the time then, because I had gone, I think it was sort of I don't think she was as welcome there as what thingy. And it's like anything, and I get it as well. So it just felt like that it was the right time for her to come away from there. And then she didn't want to just knock it all on the head and not do it. So I said to her, like, why don't you create something that you did in America? And the girls, to be fair, they had a good bond with her, and they respected her. So, and the parents as well, and they wanted to come on that journey with her. So yeah, it originally NFA did start as like a girls setup, and then a friend of mine rang and said, like, would you do my boys' age groups? It was 2, and I was like, yeah, I can't see why not. So we brought 2 age groups in with the boys. Obviously, it's before we had any kids or anything, and then it just escalated really. I think then we got a women's team, and then once we got the 2 boys teams, we started as like select groups. So trying to sort of bring the best players together, and then it was a little bit harder work with the FAW with that, because we weren't affiliated to a league or whatnot. So then we had to go back down the route of sort of grassroots teams, and then it's just boys, girls, just grown them from there. But it's just trying to create that pathway for them, and it's hard because parents should see it as they're 9s and just come and play for the 9s, but we're trying to see the bigger them to see the bigger picture. But I get, if you're not that way inclined in football, it's difficult. But like, we want the 9s to be able to see the pathway to get into that first team goal and moving on from us to a bigger club. And to be fair, the girls have probably done it the best. That Beck's had a girl at under 12. They didn't have a keeper, and the girl goes in goal. She ends up being very good. And 3 years later, she's playing for Liverpool, and she's still there now. I think she's over in America on loan or something, and she plays for Wales under 19s in goal. So it's like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, she's had a few. There's another girl who's 16s now. She's at Liverpool as well. We had another one move on to Man United. Don't think she's there anymore. But I think from a girl's point of view, we've had quite a lot of success. Obviously, Hal's as well. Your Hal's went on to Everton, didn't she? Yeah. So there's been a lot of success stories. Them starting within the club and then being able to kick on really, which is good to see. Yeah,
it's a great time to get into women's football as well, mate. You know, with it rising with the World Cup. You know, I think it was last year or a year before. It is a great time to get into women's football as well, mate. Yeah, it's only going to get bigger.
It is. Yeah. It's massive, and we hosted Wrexham. We drew Wrexham in the Welsh Cup, Women's Welsh Cup in just before Christmas. I can't remember. Yeah, might have been just before Christmas. So yeah, we hosted them at the doing, which was great because obviously they've become like pretty much the pinnacle, like the thingy for women's football in Wales now a little bit, with the investment of obviously the
Hollywood superstars,
mate. Yeah, so we were able to host them, and it was mad to see obviously the difference in like levels, but also like they come straight to Gatorade, like they just had everything, and it was great because the woman that set them up, Gemma, I've known quite a while, and her husband as well, and she said, like, to be fair, credit to you guys, because when we started on this journey before they came in, we probably didn't have what you've built here. Do you know what I mean? We were playing up someone else's ground, and then she obviously it's having that someone that will come and take a chance. You know that they're a big club, and I get that, but it's been able to kick them on now to the next level. So.
And that's inspiration as well for you, as you know, seeing someone as close as Wrexham are, you know, up the road, just really doing well. I suppose that spurs you on as well.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, it's like I said, they're a massive football club, but it's when you're able to like host the club. It's quite a thingy to think that it was an overgrown facility 4 years ago.
Raises the profile for you as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And they have got quite a good fan base even with the ladies, so I think it attracted probably about 400 or 500 people to the ground. So it's like, it was just mad when I look back on that to think we've gone there from having just an overgrown field to then hosting Wrexham at the Dairy.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, it's only going to get bigger by the sounds of it as well, mate.
Yeah, hopefully. But like I said, we can feet on the ground, mate, and just keep trying to work at what we're doing, I suppose. So
you had the setback at Rill, and then you like you say your missus wasn't too comfortable staying around, decided to, you know, set up her own football club with you involved as well. So you were inspired by that. You know, you set the goal, right, we're going to set up a football club. What was the next step then? How did you fully commit to that? To say, listen, this is happening. Let's get it done. What was the commitment?
I think it's mad because we always talk about it. It's literally at the time I was living with my dad. You know what I mean? We were just in in a bedroom with an iMac, and it was just, should we go for it sort of thing. I was only 24, something like that. Rebecca was 21, so it was just sort of setting up socials, really, getting things, trying to get ideas out there for people, and get people to buy into what we were trying to build. And I think, like anything, then just the time of sort of like working at it, bring sessions and then more sessions, getting like the younger ones started, and just trying to build that profile of what we're trying to achieve. And then obviously the hurdles were always having a facility. So once we got that and we were able to have a base to build from for the community, especially brilliant because it's with Imreal as well.
Yeah.
Then we were able to go sort of from strength to strength then. And I think like people still say it now, they'll look and go like, who are NFA? Because we've sort of come from nothing in effect of like I said, in the league we're in now, we probably shouldn't be in that league as quick as we have got to that point. Do you know what I mean? And even the women, because the women were in tier 2, which is the league below the Welsh Prem last year. So it's like we've sort of put ourselves on the map a little bit within Wales. So
yeah, definitely.
But it was just a case of just working, really, just like if you believe in something and you want it. I think if you care about it, isn't it? If you don't care and you sort of one day can't be bothered, then it doesn't really happen, does it? No. I think you've just got to believe in it and try and drive it as best as possible, and that's what we've both tried to do. And obviously sleepless nights sometimes, like things are going around in your head. I probably had one last night, to be fair, as mad as thingy where I just lay there and things are going around your head that you need to do this, need to do that, but if you don't, then you can't achieve what
doesn't get done, mate. No,
exactly.
I think the commitment side of things, from what I'm trying to give the message is, you can't really, you have to 100% commit.
Yeah,
you can't. There's no such thing as 50% commitment.
No,
people say, oh, he's only 50% committed, but he's either fully committed or he's not committed.
Yeah.
So, and it sounds like obviously sitting at home in your bedroom with your iMac and stuff like that, you decided to go on the journey and you're having sleepless nights, but you're committed, you're fully committed. We're going to make this work. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
No matter what, we're going to have ups and downs. And it's good that you're with, obviously, your missus and your partner as well. You can both bounce ideas off each other. I work with my missus as well. But to be fully committed to something it's tough in a way, mate, isn't it?
It's difficult. And that, I think it is hard, and especially in football, because there's a lot of people probably in the community that don't like us as well with it, because you have football rivalry. So like there's a lot of kids that maybe aren't at NFA and the parents naturally don't like NFA. The kids don't like NFA. Do you know what I mean? Then that then stems to, well, Niall and Rebecca run NFA, so they naturally then don't like Niall and Rebecca, and we don't know who these people are. Do you know what I mean? There's elements to it, so it is difficult, and obviously it's not nice to have that, but it's part of the process of building it. But it's just our sort of way we are. It's just having drive, and like you said, if you're not 100%, then progress doesn't happen. You have to be all in, or otherwise, like you said, if it's 50%, like you're just gonna move.
You're not going to give that
pace.
full 100% commitment, mate, because things fall away. And I get the fact that sometimes you might have to take a step back, not you personally, but people in general might have to take a step back and say, well, I might have to put this on hold for a little bit. But when you come back to it, you have to be 100% committed to it, because otherwise you'll just end up not liking it, or you'll end up quitting because you don't think it's working or whatever. But if you're 100% committed, you will make it work.
100%. Yeah, I think you have to be, and it's just that mentality, isn't it? Of like we're in this for the long run and we want to do it, and we're going to try and achieve it. And if we don't achieve it, then at least we've tried.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
At least you give it your all.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. And I think if you don't do that, then no, definitely not. You're not. You're only
on the back
so
foot,
far.
mate, aren't you?
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
already on the back foot.
Exactly.
And I think Real as a town obviously gets a bit of a bad rap and stuff like that, but what you're creating there it's community led by the sounds of it. Obviously you enjoy what you're doing, and I think it is fantastic for the community. So there's a lesson here in terms of commitment and stuff like that. Like if you are going to commit to something, fully commit 100%, you're going to get people, like Niall says, you're going to get people turning their back on you because their son's not playing for that club, but you're always going to get haters. But as long as you're fully committed, you know you're doing the right thing for what you want to do, then that is a good lesson to be had there, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
No. 100%.
And I think, after sorry, but in there, mate. So after the commitment, what was the long term plan, or were you just getting something down on paper and you think, right, how are we going to build this? What was the long term plan?
I think long term was obviously to take the club as far as we can go with it. Really, like we've obviously got it to a good point now, but we still look at there's loads we still want to do in terms of taking it to the next level. And like I said, promotions in the men's and ladies as well is two big ones to make sure the ladies are in tier 2 and pushing, and the men are in tier 2 and sort of competing, because I think then you're able to give that pathway of like an opportunity for them, like I said, local kids to then play in a better level of football, So like most now, and I might be wrong with you, when you started out, you probably have to come out as like junior football and then play at like a lower level.
Yeah.
And then work your way, to get into there. So like, I think there's enough talent in the area to try and, I'm predominantly like, I want to give young lads a chance and the young girls as well, that when they're 16, 17, if they're good enough, like you can play at this level here and make a name for yourself a little bit. So yeah, like that's the ultimate aim, to try and get the club to that point, but also then to improve our youth structure. I still know there's a lot of grey areas, and there's things that work, things that don't work. And again, like I said before, I'm not going to stand there and tell you the club's perfect. I don't think any club's perfect. And we're not one of them. So like, there's loads we still want to try and achieve really, but it is difficult because obviously you can't be in charge of every single department within that club when it grows, so it's trying to keep them standards within the club. And I feel like we are getting that back now. Obviously we've got, like I said, a strong committee and a good group of people around us that all can see the vision and are involved in that. So can we keep pushing it forwards, really?
I think when people sort of buy into a vision, and I've had it with my businesses and stuff like that, when you get the vision right for everyone and everyone feels that they're a part of it, it starts to flourish, and it'll flourish in areas that you're not trying to run at some point. So if you've got the vision right, which it sounds like you have, obviously things will flourish.
Yeah.
So no, that's good. So the plan from there, and then you must have had times, like you said, you've been in the bedroom, you've had sleepless nights, you thought this isn't working. How have you been able to stay consistent with the plan, consistent with, right, we're struggling here a little bit. Obviously you're doing it with your wife, which must cause friction at some point. How do you stay consistent with the drive to push this club as high as you can?
I think it, like anything, you have obviously ups and downs, don't you? So it's like trying to pluck the good. Like there might be a week where I'm literally like, oh, I'm done here, like genuinely, and shit. Rebecca will say, "Oh, just remember this, remember that," and then something good will maybe happen within that week or within a couple of weeks, and you think, "No, right, let's keep going." And it's just trying not to take too many negatives, and that's probably one of my downfalls. Is I'll only a lot of time only look at the bad and what's not right, because I'm trying to get everything right. But then you don't stop and think of what the good in it, and what's actually been achieved and stuff. And obviously it's like a lot of people love it, being a part of it. Do you know what I mean? Some might not, but I'll always look at the ones that aren't instead of the ones that are. So it's like, it's trying to remember that. And obviously, just she obviously helps because she's a little bit more like happy sort of thingy, and like just goes with it sort of thing. So like when I am a bit like frustrated and whatnot, she can just sort of bring me back down and say, listen, this is where we're going, this is what we want to do. And then I can be a bit irate, especially if I lose or something.
It's competitive edge in you, though. That's the thing, mate. Everyone wants to win, and I get it. Even at any level, if you've got that competitive edge, especially with as many football teams as you're running, the passion and the desire comes out sometimes. I get it, mate.
No, it does, mate. And then just I come back down to earth sometimes. I shouldn't have done that, or I could be a bit calmer, but it's just my nature, really.
Just emotion, mate. It's emotion. If you look at the biggest man, look at Mourinho and something he did the other week, and he said I can't remember who it was, but his FA or whatever they were sanctioning him, telling me he couldn't run on the pitch or something. But he said of the other manager, he knows why I did it because he's a football man.
Yeah.
So there's emotion there.
Yeah.
So if you're a football man, you know why the emotion comes out. Obviously, there's a level there, but like you say, you've got your missus there to keep you grounded.
Yeah.
And it's great that you can sort of bounce ideas off each other. I've worked with my missus as well, and I know it can be tough.
Yeah.
But if you've got a common goal there, then it makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier.
I think it's always nice as well to have, like, when you do something like that, it's difficult when you're on your own, isn't it? If you're trying to push something on your own, I think it's probably a little bit harder. But to have someone next to you that believes in the same thing, I do think that is important, really. If you can have someone that buys into your goal with you, and yeah, it's like going to the gym, isn't it? If you've got someone that wants to go to the gym partner with you, and you might be having a day where you can't be bothered, but he's like, "Nah, we're going," and then vice versa. I think it's similar in that industry. Don't
want to get too philosophical, but I've been doing a lot of reading this last few months. So the quote is, "If you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to go far, go together."
Yeah.
So I've been involved in a lot of businesses on my own, and it's always been quite pig-headed for me. Where I'm on my own, I'm going to make this work. But with the amount of self-development that I've been doing and the courses I've been going on, and especially with Progress Hacks, the collaboration with people around you, it helps. It helps to have a shoulder. It helps to have someone to speak to. And if you're at your tip top 100%, then you're going to give 100% to other people.
Yeah.
Where sometimes if you're trying to battle challenges on your own, then it only takes that one person to say, well, actually, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
And you can go back into your shell.
100%.
And there's a lot of that at the moment. What I'm finding, talking to a lot of lads that I'm dealing with, it only takes that little bit of, oh, well, too risky. You can't give up your job.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a good job. Don't do this, don't do that. And then there's nothing worse than that, mate. Yeah. So if you've got someone in your corner, I know
it's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
I think with that as well is like what frustrates me, and you see a lot of it. Like, I want to see like local people do well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if they're doing well, it's like praise them for it. I think Rebecca said something to me the other week. It's like if for example a celebrity brings something out, like everyone, wow, like, but they don't even know who that person is.
No.
You know what I mean? And then if someone local does it, it's like we'll laugh at them. Do you know what I mean? And
of course.
it's that, like, do you know what I mean? Like I was saying earlier, us as a club, like, we're happy to see other clubs do well as well. Like, I know there's a lot of good work going into other clubs around the area, and it's like there's no like negativity,
no animosity.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's only going to make us stronger. But then I'd see it with a lot of local people that are successful and they've got businesses and they're earning good money, and it's like, be happy for them.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Mate,
be happy for them, and it's
there's not enough of it, mate.
no,
to be
there's
fair.
not. And I think in a community like ours, that should be a big factor, really. But doesn't seem to be. I don't know if that's social media or whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we could go down a rabbit hole with the old social media stuff. But I get what you're saying, mate. Yeah, and especially with the work I'm doing with Progress Hacks and stuff like that, I'm trying to sort of build community where people can rely on each other. They can, you know, even go through town and see people they know, and like you say, people doing well. You want to be happy for them, because it's only your own problems. If you're seeing someone and thinking, fucking hell, he's lucky, you know, it's your own issues that you've got to deal with, mate, isn't it?
100%.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, there's a reason they are doing well. They've worked for it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't just happen.
No.
Overnight,
Unless you won the lottery or something like that.
Sorry.
Unless you won the lottery. And even then, you still have to buy a ticket.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? You've got to be in it.
It's very rare that you see someone you don't see the work that goes on in the background, mate.
No, you just see where they're at and the success they've had, and then
there's no such thing as an overnight success, mate.
No, I don't believe. No, I think you've got to work for it.
No, that's good advice, mate. That. So moving swiftly through. So the consistency there, we've gone over that, and then the discipline. So the discipline with my other guests, it gets a little bit not so much confusion, but consistency and discipline run quite parallel with each other. But for me, discipline is the getting out of bed when you don't want to, or you getting to your gym when it's raining and stuff like that. So what's your take on consistency versus discipline, and what discipline does it take to build a football club like you're building, and even the discipline that comes back from the kids that are coming through?
Yeah, I think obviously you've got to set the right example, haven't you? First of all, it's obviously if you're half-hearted, going somewhere, and like I said, if you're only going to give 50% within that session you're delivering, you're only probably going to get 50, if not 25, back from the kids or whatever. So it's like setting it as good as example as you can. And obviously, I have myself sometimes. Every coach will tell you go to a session, and you're a bit like forward tonight, and then when you get going, you get that buzz, and it's like, oh, I'm buzzing with this now. It's just that initial, like anything, the thought of it. I don't really want to do it. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like, it's just trying to motivate yourself first, I think, but then obviously setting for me, the right example to everyone. Like, you want them to learn, and do you know what I mean? And if you're not giving 100%, then that's not going to be given back. So,
going to pass off.
Yeah. And then the respect barrier, I think, obviously, discipline, I think we try our best, or especially myself when I deliver, it's like, I want that element. I'll give you my respect, but you've got to show it back. You know what I mean? If you want mine, and I say it to even the little ones, if I do a class or whatnot, I'll always say to them, if you want my attention, you've got to show me yours. So if I'm talking and you're one of the ones that's out the way, like dribbling, doesn't want to listen or the thingy, then ultimately I'll put my time into the ones that are there.
You're a coach. You're a coach predominantly at the end of the day, aren't you? And I've had I won't mention any names, but there's been a few stuff going on with local stuff. But at the end of the day, you're there to try and get the best out of the kids, regardless of what age it is.
Yeah.
And I know there's an element of winning, and I know it comes in a little bit more when they get a bit older.
Yeah.
But you're predominantly there to make them a better footballer and a better human being at the end of the day.
That's it.
You know, and I can imagine you get a bit of stick from that sometimes, the kickback of it. But what you've got to remember is, you know, you're there to try and make these parents' kids better.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And that's away from, obviously, the football club. I have like my own section where I do classes and stuff like that, and that's where I try and create that environment within that. It's like there's no pressure on you. Like, come here, make as many mistakes as you want, 'cause you're only going to learn from them. Do you know what I mean? There's no one's going to shout at you. There's like a little bit of freedom. Old school, really, 'cause I think a lot of that's gone in football now, where like kids can just turn up and play football. Like, a lot of it now is just detail. And
overcoaching.
Overcoaching, and it gets pulled out of them. So within that class, I try and give them structure, but I want to give them a freedom where they can just enjoy.
I think that's a sign of a good coach, mate. Yeah, there's a good podcast that I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's a high performance podcast. It was, I can't remember his name. It was the old Wales rugby manager. He was a Kiwi fella. Can't think of his name, but he's classed as, he's been voted the best coach in history. Can't remember his name. I'll put it on the bio later on. And he gives a brilliant podcast on high performance podcast about coaching and about sometimes having high profile players, and even they need their arm around them sometimes. To say, listen, you know, I'm your coach. I'm going to get the best out of you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'll post it in the bio, mate, and I'll post it for people on there as well. But discipline. Do you get a lot of players lacking in discipline, stuff like that?
Yeah, we do. Obviously, I think like naturally in the area we're in, do you know what I mean? There's obviously a lot of deprived areas and stuff within our town. So it's like some kids come to us and they have got that like little bit of a different personality. So it's like trying to manage that as best as you can. But I like that. I like the challenge of like, can I help this person? Like, especially when they're from real. Do you know what I mean? As mad as that sounds, like, I want to try and better them and give them the sort of right path and try and help them on it. So like the discipline of that as well, where we've had a couple, won't mention any names, probably one that I've got within senior setup, like coming out 16. The difference in him now to in a year and a half is worlds apart from probably where he was at. Just by being firm and not, like most lads will tell you with me, it's like, I don't like, you get away with the silly things, you know what I mean? I'm quite firm, as like I said before, if I give you my respect and I want it back, and if I've got standards, then I want you to stick to them standards, and if you don't, that's fine, but then there's an element of you won't play for me.
Do you know what I
mean?
I get it, mate, and there's not enough of it. I think it's coming back round full circle now in terms of what you're doing, in terms of, you know, younger people's football, younger kids' football and stuff like that. there has to be an element to say, well, actually, if you're not giving me your respect, then you don't belong at the club. And I know it's harsh, and it doesn't matter what age you are. If you want to win, you want to win, but you want to enjoy playing football as well. And you don't want it to be, ruined for you as a coach.
No,
either.
exactly.
You want to enjoy it, and you don't want to be seen to other people giving the other kids a hard time who want to enjoy it. As harsh as it sounds, but I think we're coming full circle now, and I think people are starting to sort of get that idea back in their head again
and see it. And I think it's sacrificing that, like, because a lot of the time, to be fair, it's probably one of your better ones that the class clowns, you know what I mean, that cause the issue, but they're probably one of your best players, and a lot of people will then sacrifice him being the best player or her being the best player for the actual respect barrier of it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas
and then
with
you're treading on a
myself,
fine line, then, aren't you?
You are, yeah. Whereas like obviously then it's about managing the person, isn't it? But for me, like I've probably learned it a few years back. It was like I'll always be straight with the player, and like if I think they're being arsehole, like I'll tell them. Do you know what I mean? And whether it's away from the group or with the group, I'll be quite firm with them, because I think that way then, like they can call you every name and sun, you can call you what you want, but they can't call you a liar. And that's one thing for me I've always stuck by. It's like no coach, not many coaches are like, I think they're respected, but like most of my players now have probably said, oh, prick, it does me head in. You know what I mean?
But you got respect.
But there's a respect element there, so I think that's in any sort of coach environment. Like if you're overliked by all your players, probably because you seem more
too friendly,
So it's like, I think.
No, I get it. It's a fine line, mate. Yeah, I get it. But it sounds like you're doing a good job, mate. Yeah. Like doing a good job.
No, I appreciate that.
Right, so we're coming on to the final element. So we move on to opportunity and luck. So it's a bit of a mad one, opportunity and luck, because you sort of, people say you make your own luck, don't you? So what's a few little elements of luck that you've had because you've been knocking down doors? You've had a week from hell, and then something's come through, and you think, right, this is the reason we're doing this.
Yeah.
Where's the opportunity and the luck come in?
I think I was lucky to get the opportunity at Rill. To be fair, that's probably the first point of call, because obviously I've become the youngest manager in the Welsh system or Europe or whatever at the time, and I think that basically stemmed from maybe the club struggling at the time, not having the resources of. Obviously, I know they didn't own the ground and stuff, whereas they do now. They're in a much better place than maybe they were back then. But then having like a couple of local people within that board, I won't mention names, but that have them said, right, give him a go. Do you know what I mean? So I think I was very lucky in that aspect. I think maybe I earned that right in terms of what I was doing within the club. They obviously seen something.
Yeah.
I don't
and the badges as well.
That's it. Yeah, I don't think they're just going to turn around and give you that opportunity. Like,
but you put the work in with the badges and that, haven't you? That's the thing.
That's it, mate. Yeah. So there was an element that I'd worked towards it, but a lot of people would have probably turned away and thought, I'll give it him. He's far too young. Do you know what I mean? So I got that little bit of luck at the time, and I think that's become more common now, since probably I was one of the early ones that happened to. There's quite a lot now within Wales, especially, where they are taking a chance on younger managers and giving them that opportunity. So I was definitely lucky in that aspect. But yeah, I think sometimes you can be down, and like it's trying to find that bit of motivation, but then something like you said just might click, of like you'll get sort of, I don't know, a message or someone that'll just inspire a little bit again.
So someone comes onto the radar, and you just get a little G up from it.
Yeah, and it's like, right, if he's saying that, keep yourself going. Do you know what I mean? And ultimately, like, I think obviously in anything, it's like I said, you give 100%, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? But you can't, like, they can't take that away from you, sort of thing. If you've tried your best.
You don't want to dwell on it too much. And
no,
you take the learning from it. You learn from your mistakes, and then you kick on, mate, don't you? Yeah. Then you see the next opportunity. A lot of people see certain things as luck, but like you say, the more good positions you put yourself in, the more players you get. The more people that come in and out the club, the more people you meet, the more coaches you work with, the opportunities come. Right? Yeah, he's a good coach. Yeah, they've been not so good, but you've always got to take that learning as an opportunity to learn and push forward, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the luck in an element will come from there, mate, won't it?
Yeah.
You'll get your breaks then, won't you?
You do. Yeah, you do. Yeah. And it's what I think it's what path you want to try and push down, isn't it? So like when I was younger, I had obviously ambitions of trying to go up the pyramid and obviously go into England and try and achieve something a little bit different. But then once I come out of that bubble, I think sometimes you can get like wrapped in like a bubble. Once you're in it, you like think that's everything and that's it. And then when you come away from it, it was like, right, like there's other opportunities elsewhere. And do I want to pursue that, knowing like how difficult it's going to be? And
especially when families are not coming into it, mate.
And that is it. And that was probably the problem with the Welsh Prem stuff. In the end, it was like, right, it's not me now. I just had Lucas at the time, and it was like, how much of effect is it having where I'm missing time with them? I'm in South Wales every other week. But I was speaking to, again, a lad the other night about it who's sort of similar age to me when I was there, and he's having the same things now. It's like the commitment of it. It takes over your life. So I think having the boys when I did is probably where then I took that step back and thought, right, I don't want to like that to be my everything. Do you know what I mean?
Cause it's the balance, mate, isn't it? It's the balance, especially with family. And no one's gonna take a stab at you saying, "Oh, listen, he wasn't committed enough." When family and that comes into it, things change, and it sounds like you've got the balance right with the amount you're enjoying it, the amount you're committed to it. Your family's involved as well.
Yeah.
It's not always about like breaking into the millions sometimes, and you think, right, I'm gonna kill myself here. But I've been there with my business and stuff like that. It's about finding that balance with your family, especially with family.
Family first, always.
It's got to be, mate.
The most important thing. Like that's what you the same. Like you've raised based on that. Like you're from a good background, great family, and that's always what I had. So it was like, and that's what I mean when you get caught in that bubble and you're chasing a dream and you're chasing, then you come out of it and it's like, don't forget where your foundations were always built on.
Don't climb the wrong mountain sometimes, mate.
That's it. And I think having again them experiences and then coming out of that has been able to sort of like get that balance is so important.
No, you should be proud of yourself, mate. You should be proud of yourself.
No.
Right, so we're coming to the end. Just do a bit of a recap. So Niall McGuinness, he runs NFA. Over 30 clubs running there at the moment, from junior teams, boys and girls, up to seniors, men's and women as well. All sound like they're doing really well. So I'll put NFA's links and stuff in the bio, and a bit about Niall as well. So what I'm going to do now before we finish is I always ask my guests one last question. What's the one piece of advice that you've received or that you could give to people that are striving to become better, that's striving to maybe have a coach or just maybe get that extra step on the ladder? What's that one bit of advice that you can offer?
I think probably don't be scared is the biggest one. Like if you've got an opportunity, just take the chance and just don't like worry about making mistakes, especially for like a youngster now that's starting out, like because of the perception of social media and stuff like that. Now it's like, I can get if I don't do it right, there's someone will take the piss out of me or whatnot. Just don't be large, believe in what you want to do, forget about outside noise and what people think. Like just do what's right for you as a person. If you want to try and do something like that, then don't be scared. If it fails, it fails. But if you don't, you probably see it loads. If you don't take that chance,
you just got to take the chance, mate. It's good advice, mate. It's very good advice.
You've got to, that would probably be the one for me. Is just don't be scared to take a risk. If it fails, it fails. But if you don't take it, then
just go for it, mate.
100%, mate.
Nice. No, that's been really good. We're gonna wrap it up now. But thanks very much, Niall, for coming.
Thanks for having me on, Bins.
No worries, mate. I think it's great what you're doing for the community and stuff like that. And I think it's right that you've started creeping through, and people are obviously, if I'm noticing and stuff like that now, people are starting to notice, which is only going to help the community. It's only going to help people's development. So I think it's fantastic what you do, mate.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. So that's the Hex Effect podcast. I'll get this out, and the bio will be there with Niall's contacts and stuff like that, and NFA. I'm sure they're always taking on. And keep doing well, mate.
Thank
All
you
the best.
very much.